Hey, good morning everyone. Thanks for joining me today. We're going to be working into a heart chakra flow, which obviously means backbends. We're going to start off quite fast and get through a couple of vinyasas and sun salutations quite quickly just to warm the body up in preparation for our backbends at a later stage. It's really important when you are practicing backbends to only go as far as your body feels ready to go. And each time we practice, we can feel a little bit differently from the previous times that we've practiced. So just because you've gone very deep into a backbend before, doesn't necessarily mean you'll be feeling that way today. So each time you go into the pose, just make sure that you're in your correct alignment, engaging into lower belly to lengthen your lower back, and only go as far as feels good. If you can't breathe, you've gone too far. That's a good indication. So we'll start off sitting in an upright position, taking a mudra of your choice, and gently closing your eyes. And right from the beginning of the practice, we're going to connect into our Anahata Chakra, located in the heart center. And we often think of the heart as just being at the front of the body, the front of the chest, but it's actually right in the middle of the torso. Evenly connecting to the front, the back, and also to the sides. So the side rib cage is all part of this heart area. So as you inhale, feel the expansion of the ribs in a 360 degree. Not just lifting the chest, but lifting the rib cage underneath the arms. Lifting into the back body. And it's quite nice to bring in a visualization of a green orb of light radiating from the heart center. So our heart chakra is associated with the color green. It's associated with concepts of love and kindness and compassion. So thinking about anything that comes to mind with these ideologies of compassion, of kindness, perhaps that you're needing it for yourself, for someone in particular, or the world in general. And I find that working with the heart chakra is really important in times of severe anxiety, such as we are facing now. If we can face the root of our fears from a place of compassion, of loving kindness, we can separate a lot of that anxiety and a lot of that fear in just the basic understanding that everyone is doing the best that they can. And that includes ourselves. We're going to join the hands together at the heart center, and we're going to start the class by chanting Om today. And as you chant Om, press your thumbs firmly against your sternum to feel the vibration between the body and the hands. Taking a deep breath in. Slowly lowering your chin to your chest and gently blinking the eyes open. Let's roll over the shins straight into downward facing dog. And start to stretch out your dog by bending one knee and then the other. Lifting your hips up and back. And pushing your chest towards your thighs while at the same time opening the shoulder blades and releasing the neck. So take any movement here that feels good for you. Your movement can be as big or as small as feels appropriate for this point in the class. Any sort of intuitive movement is fine. You can roll forward into a plank and open the heart into a tucked toed up dog, rounding into the back. You can sink one heels to the one side, heels to the other side. So just trying to create a bit more of a liquid, fluid movement, moving away from the static. You can bend your knees and create an undulation of the spine as though shaking out a blanket. Releasing the head from side to side, as well as up and down. And then when you are ready, you can walk your way to the front of the mat and hang into a ragdoll, knees bent, elbows interlocked, and gently swaying the torso, bending one knee and straightening the other as you roll from side to side. And then returning to the center, drop the hands as you roll yourself up. Keep the chin tucked to chest, feeling as though you're lifting from the back of the shoulders. Coming all the way into Tadasana, standing into your upright mountain pose. And we're going to flow through a couple of rounds of sun salutations, speeding up with a few variations as we go. Let's inhale the hands overhead. And exhale to forward fold. Inhale, halfway lift. And exhale the right leg into lunge. Inhaling into plank. Let's exhale, knees, chest and chin. Inhaling, low cobra. Exhaling, downward facing dog. Big breath in and out. Taking the right leg to the sky and stepping it forward on your inhale. Step together, flat back, and exhale to forward fold. Inhaling the hands up to the sky. Straight into round two as you forward fold. Inhale, halfway lift. And exhale, stepping the left leg into lunge, followed by the right into plank. Let's lower knees, chest and chin. Sliding forward, a little bit higher in the cobra. And exhaling back into downward facing dog. Breathing here. Let's inhale the left leg up. And stepping the foot forward into lunge. Inhale together, flat back, and exhale to fold. Inhale, reaching hands up to the sky. Straight back down, forward fold. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhaling the right leg into lunge, dropping the knee down and inhaling hands up into crescent lunge. Lift through the chest, lift into the lower belly, and then exhale the hands down, stepping back into plank. Let's lower chaturanga this time, bending the elbows, squeezing the thighs, up and over the toes, upward facing dog, and back into downward facing dog. Deep breath in, deep breath out. Let's inhale, taking the right leg to the sky, stepping the foot forward into lunge, dropping the back knee down, and inhaling the hands up to the sky. Crescent lunge. On the inhale, bring the hands open into cactus, lifting your chest a little bit higher, and then bringing the hands behind the back, interlocking fingers, and rolling the shoulder blades together. On your inhale, sweeping the hands back to the sky. Exhale, hands to the mat. Let's step forward into flat back. And exhale to forward fold. Inhale the hands up to the sky, taking it straight back down, forward fold. Inhale, halfway lift, and stepping the left leg into lunge. Exhale the back knee down into crescent as you float the arms up into your low crescent lunge. Exhale the hands down as inhale into plank. Lowering knees, chest or chaturanga, and sliding up and over, cobra or up dog, back into downward facing dog. Take a breath here. Let's inhale, left leg to the sky, stepping forward into lunge, dropping the back knee down to the mat and sweeping the hands up, crescent lunge. Inhale, opening into cactus, and then drawing the hands behind the back, interlocking fingers, rolling the shoulder blades to the floor as you open up through the heart. Let's inhale, hands back up to the sky, exhale down to the mat, stepping forward into flat back, and exhale to forward fold. Bending knees, chair pose, rounding into the lower back, and exhale to forward fold. Inhale, halfway lift, step or hop yourself back, landing in your plank, lower knees, chest or chaturanga, up dog or cobra, and Adho Mukha Svanasana. You're going to inhale the right leg up and then stepping it forward, Virabhadrasana A, Warrior One. Square your hips to the front of the mat, open up through the heart. Let's exhale, hands down. Inhale, step back into plank. Lower chaturanga or knees chest. Inhaling, Urdhva Mukha Svanasana. And exhaling, Adho Mukha Svanasana. Let's inhale, left leg to the sky. And then stepping forward, Virabhadrasana A. Square your hips, open your heart. Really anchor through the baby toe of the back foot. Let's exhale to lower down. Inhale, plank. Exhale, chaturanga. Inhale, Urdhva Mukha Svanasana. And exhale, Adho Mukha Svanasana. You're going to walk, step or hop to the front of the mat, bending the knees as you look forward, and lightly float yourself forward. Inhale, flat back. Exhale to forward fold. Inhale, sweeping the hands up to the sky, and then interlocking the fingers behind the back. Draw the hands closer together, opening up through the heart. Squeeze your thighs, squeeze your glutes, and then start to reach the hands down towards the heels. Just be gentle here, don't overly extend into the back. feel the front body opening tall. Now you're going to bend your knees deeply as you fold. Keep your knees bent. The bent knee will take the energy out of the lumbar and into the shoulders. Dropping hands to the floor, step or hop yourself back. And again lowering through knees, chest or chaturanga. Inhaling, up dog or cobra, and exhaling, downward facing dog. You should start to be feeling a little bit warm. Let's inhale the right leg to the sky and stepping the foot forward into high lunge. So staying on the back toes, lifting up into high lunge. Breathing deeply into this space as you float the back heel up, bend your front knee a little bit deeper. Let's bring the hands behind you, interlocking fingers, and roll the shoulder blades together as you reach your hands towards your heels. On the inhale, float the hands back up to the sky. And I'll keep the fingers lifting tall as you very slowly lower the back knee down to the mat. Draw the hands together at the heart center. And we're going to twist now, coming into warrior two arms, facing your right side. Inhale to the center. And then warrior two arms to the left side. Turn your gaze forward, bringing the back hand to the thigh, the front arm up to the ceiling. Start to gently walk the fingers down the leg as you open up the front body. Let's cartwheel the hands down to the mat. And then stepping yourself into downward facing dog. Taking a deep breath in and a deep breath out. Taking the left leg to the sky and stepping the foot forward into lunge. On your inhale breath, rolling up, high lunge. So square the hips, open up the heart, adjust your stance if you're too wide or too narrow. Find space into the lower back by lifting the spine out of the pelvis. Let's draw the hands behind you, interlocking fingers and rolling the shoulder blades together. So you do lift the chin a little bit here, but you're very mindful of what's happening in the back of the neck, keeping the neck long. Chin slightly down instead of completely letting go and compressing the back of the neck. Let's inhale the hands to the sky and then feel as though the hands are going to lift you up as you slowly bend the back knee down, stabilizing to lower. Hands together at the heart, sinking the hips forward. Let's inhale, turn to the left, warrior two arms. Coming back to the center, opening to the right, turning your gaze forward, back hand down as the front arm lifts, opening up through the heart. Find a comfortable space for the neck, lifting the pubic bone, deepening the stretch into your hip flexors. Let's cartwheel the hands down to the mat and stepping back into downward facing dog. Taking a deep breath here. So down dog is a really good recovery pose for all of our back bends, keeping the spine active, keeping the muscles active, but it's a nice release into the lumbar. We're going to walk, step or hop into flat back. And exhale to forward fold. Bending your knees into chair pose. Another really good recovery pose for the lower back. Who would have thought that this intense posture could be a recovery position? And now press into your feet so hard that the body starts to straighten up, drawing the hands behind you, squeezing the thighs, squeezing the glutes as you open your chest. Strong into the abdomen, lifting up, bend knees deeply as you forward fold, bringing your rib cage to your thighs. We're focusing on the shoulders here. Bent knees to release the back. Dropping hands down to the floor. Gonna walk, step, or hop yourself back into plank. And again, moving through a vinyasa, knees, chest, or chaturanga. Up dog or cobra. Hold into your up dog or your cobra. And then puff your heart center forward. Reach your toes back. Draw the shoulder blades together. And then back into downward facing dog. Taking a few deep breaths here. On the inhale breath, taking the right leg to the sky. Let's step the foot forward, warrior one. Flowing his arms up. And then opening the body, warrior two. Bringing the front heel in line with the arch of the back foot. Let's inhale into reclining warrior. And then coming forward into Parsva, and you can choose whether to bring your elbow to your knee, onto your ankle, or to the mat inside the foot. Let's inhale, coming back up to center, straighten that leg, and then rebend, folding the hands down to the mat. Take your front leg up and back into three-legged dog. Let's open the hip to the side, pointing those toes as high as you can, and then bending into that top leg, bringing the heel close to the glute. Feel an opening into the side of the torso, into the psoas muscle. Keep your hands flat, keep your opposite leg in your down dog alignment. And then lifting that leg back up to the sky, releasing the foot to the floor into downward facing dog. Taking a deep breath in and out. Let's inhale, taking the left leg to the sky. And then stepping the foot forward, Virabhadrasana A, facing the short edge of the mat. Inhale. And then opening up Vira 2. Adjust your feet a little bit to come into the correct alignment. Let's come into reclining warrior, leaning back. And then pivoting forward into Parsva. Moving a little bit deeper if the body feels ready to go deeper. Inhale, back up to center, straighten the front leg, rebending, and then cartwheeling the hands down. Stepping your front foot up and back, three-legged dog. Lifting the leg as high as you can go, looking underneath your left arm, and then moving into the scorpion by bending into the knee,
Rotate your hip open, rotate the heart open. Keep the other 3 appendages in down dog alignment. Let's inhale to straighten and exhale to release into downward facing dog. On the inhale breath, walk, step or hop, flat back. And exhale to forward fold. Inhale, Utkatasana, chair pose. Lifting into lower belly, squeezing those inner thighs. And then let's push into the feet so much that the body lifts all the way up. Hands behind you, interlocking fingers. Roll the shoulder blades together. Inhale and leaning back. If you want to, you can release the hands onto the back of the thighs and start to open the chest a little bit more. Be mindful of the neck. Open up through the heart. Use your tummy muscles to lift back up. Bend into the knees as you forward fold. Keep the knees bent as you lift halfway up into flat back. And then let's walk, step or hop into plank. We're going to lower all the way down to the floor. So taking a little while to get there, let's really work into this upper body first. Squeeze your thighs, squeeze your tummy. Really engage into those core muscles. We're going to lower chaturanga and hold. 5, 4, 3, 2, and all the way down. Let's bring the hands underneath the forehead for a moment. And just try to catch your breath. Reincorporate your ujjayi. And so in these faster paced vinyasa flows, can be quite challenging to keep the breath at its desired space. So just use this moment to find the ujjayi, breathing into the front body, the side body, and the back body. On your inhale breath, we're going to take the hands behind you, interlocking the fingers. So bend your elbows, get your palms to touch, and then straighten the arms by drawing the shoulder blades together. We're going to lift up arms, chest, and legs. So remember to keep the neck long, looking just in front of your mat. Reach the toes back, heels slightly externally rotating, and then lift the chest, drawing the hands towards the heels. Focus on the upper body, so the upper back, the front of the chest. And then gently releasing down. Bring your right ear to the mat. Have the toes facing in, the heels facing out. And breathe into the space. On the next round, you can repeat interlocking the fingers, or if you'd like to come into Dhanurasana, you can hold onto the tops of the feet. So remember, you're going to push the pubic bone into the floor, and then inhale to lift the chest, exhale to kick your legs up and back. There's a natural rock happening with the breath, so don't force the rock. Just breathe and you'll notice the rock. Lifting the legs, but also kicking them back to deepen the stretch over the front body. And let's gently release from here. Hands under the shoulders. Push back into a child's pose just for one round of breath. I want to keep the back nice and active. and then into downward facing dog. On your inhale breath, going to float the right leg to the sky, stepping it forward into lunge. Let's open up through the heart, reaching head and heel away from one another. Very light on your fingertips. And then on the inhale breath, you're going to stand up, bringing your back knee up with you into your balance. Flex your foot, really engage into that top thigh, and then open the arms into cactus. Twisting into dancing Shiva by turning towards your thigh, rotating to your left side. And then extend your arms either side, so you're in your warrior two arms. The front foot is now going to kick up to meet the back hand. You don't turn your back hand, the wrist is still facing outwardly, the palm facing outwardly, holding the big toe side of the foot. Turn your gaze forward again, and then as you inhale, you start to lift your leg up, and the torso reaches forward in response. Imagine that you're getting your foot over the head. And then you're going to inhale back up to center. Draw the knee to the chest again. And from here, we're going to step it back into your low lunge. So you reach your heel back as you bring your fingers to the floor. Slow transition, landing into your lunge again. Breathing deeply here. I like to fold the side of my mat up because my knees are a bit sensitive, and then bringing the back knee down to the floor, so you're in your low crescent lunge. You're going to inhale up, bringing the hand to that front thigh, and now working into the quad by bending your back knee. If you've got the space, you can bring your hand to hold the foot, just like we did in the dancer's pose, where the palm is facing out, the inside of the elbow is facing out, and you're holding the big toe side of the foot. Let's slowly start to sink the hips. And now instead of trying to draw the back foot in for the quad activation, we're going to start to open up the chest, feeling as though we're coming into a bit of a back bend. For some of you, you might be able to turn your elbow up to the sky and hold onto your toe. My body is not in a space where that is a comfortable option, but if you are there, you're very welcome to take it. You're going to gently release that back leg down. Lift the back knee up, so you're in your regular lunge, and then we're going to step back into downward facing dog. Let's take a breath in, down dog. Let's float the left leg to the sky, inhale, and then stepping the foot forward into lunge. Float the fingers up, you can sink the hips a little bit lower here, finding your alignment in this space. And then let's take the back knee up to the chest. Flex into the foot. Press your standing leg down below the surface of the mat. Let's open up the heart. Elbows into cactus. And then twisting into your dancing Shiva. You have to really engage into the muscles of the core and the ribs. And then stretch the arms into warrior two arms. Take the front leg, kick it back without adjusting the back hand. Keep it as it was. Turn the gaze forward And then you kick the back leg up and the torso forward folds just a little bit in response to the back leg. So the front body is moving fairly passively and the activation is into the back of the body. Breathing deeply here. Let's inhale, knee to chest again, into your standing balance, and then moving towards the low lunge, floating the back leg back as you slowly drop the fingers to the floor. Take a moment in your lunge, and then you can fold the mat over if that feels good, and drop the back knee down to the floor. Going to lift up, hands onto the front thigh. Slide the hips forward as you open up through the heart. So it's quite a deep lunge happening into that back quad already and into the front of the hip flexors. And then if you want to, you can bend the back leg, holding onto the foot behind you, the same alignment as before. And now instead of bringing the heel closer, you start to pull the heel away without tipping your balance backwards. And you feel how that's going to open up the chest, open up the hip flexor. Feeling very wobbly on this side. Engage into the core. Whew. And let's come back to the center. Release the back foot, release the hands down, lifting your knee into lunge, and let's step it back into downward facing dog. Taking a deep breath here. Let's move into a flat back at the front of your mat. Walk, step or hop. Exhale to forward fold. Bending knees, reaching arms up into Utkatasana. Let's exhale to forward fold. Inhale, lifting halfway up. Walk, step or hop through a Vinyasa. And back into downward facing dog. Coming to sit on the mat. And then bringing your legs out in front of you. You're going to roll down to the floor. Kick your heels away. And very slowly release down to the mat. Okay, we're going to move now into our back bending peak pose, which is moving towards Urdhva Dhanurasana or the wheel. Not everyone is going to be ready for wheel today, and then you'll stick into your half bridge pose. So we're all going to do a half bridge pose to begin, and then we'll move into the wheel after that. Feet hip distance parallel. Make sure that your heels line up with your knees, line up with your hips, line up with your shoulders. So this core alignment is very important. Curling the tailbone as you lift up. Walk the shoulder blades as close together under the back body as you can manage. You can interlock your fingers here. Your back is quite open already, so if you feel like you can go a little bit deeper, you can bring the heel of the hands underneath the SI joints with the fingers to the side. You're not sitting into those hands, you're lifting above them. The hands are more or less a height marker. Keep moving the elbows in line with the shoulders so you're maintaining that parallel line. If you're still feeling strong and open and you want to play around here, you can come into pony pose by floating one foot up to the sky. other leg will also lift up. I have no idea what this is called, pony pose. It's always been one of the mysteries of my yoga practice. And then releasing down. When you come to lower, you're going to lift the hips off the hands, open the shoulders, round the back, coming down one vertebrae at a time, and let's take it into a restorative pose for a few breaths. So we've done enough preparation now for the spine to feel fairly liquid. If your spine doesn't feel liquid, that is an indication that you need to hold back a little bit. Not everyone's spines function in the same way, and as I said at the beginning, some days we can go deep, some days we can't. It's really dependent on a lot of different factors. So if you'd like to come into your wheel, you are welcome to. Otherwise, please repeat another half bridge pose. So either way, feet hip distance parallel. If you're coming into your wheel pose, bring the hands up and then plug your shoulders back down. You're going to bend the elbows to the sky and place the fingers facing to the heels. Be mindful not to let your feet turn wide when you lift up. Preparation is to lift up and then come onto the head, but very lightly, don't drop the weight on the head. And then if you're ready to go all the way, you start to straighten those arms and you focus on opening your chest. Breathe into the space. Make sure your neck is comfortable. Gently lifting the pubic bone. Make sure you can breathe. When you're ready to come down, you tuck your chin into your chest and you lower onto the back of the skull, not the top, but the back. So the shoulders can come down with the chin tucked to the chest. And again, you roll the spine one vertebrae at a time. Let's take the knees into the chest. And just this simple upasana is really good for lower back release. Maybe you like to roll from side to side. And then moving into Ananda Balasana, happy baby, another very good pose for releasing the lower back. If your tailbone has a tendency to curl up here, really focus on pressing the tailbone back to the mat. And you're going to feel how that really softens and releases into that lower back area. Again, a gentle roll might be exactly what you need. Or maybe you're feeling that's a bit sensitive on the spine and you prefer to hold into stillness. So for the rest of the class, we're going to work into releasing poses, trying to restore balance. Moving away from the intensity of our heart openers. It's quite nice just to check in with the heart center and feel that fluttering, that active energy pulsing from the heart arena. Let's draw the knees back into the chest again, and then you're going to either rock up and down or come along the side of the body. And we're going to make your way into a downward facing dog. So going into down dog when you are ready. And in the down dog, bend your knees and lift your hips up and back, getting a lovely deep stretch into the spine. If you lift your tailbone up to the sky just a little bit, you'll feel that extra lengthening happening into the back. Holding here for a few breaths, and then if it feels comfortable, you can straighten the legs. If you prefer to keep the knees bent, that is fine as well. You're going to take the right leg up to the sky and then step the knee forward into pigeon pose, Kapattanasana. Slide the back foot a little bit further back, lifting up through the chest just for a moment, and then coming down onto the elbows in the reclining variation. You may want to move your bottom foot further forward. You may want to move it further back. See what works with your hip rotators today. If you want to come down onto the stacked hands, that's the next stage. Or maybe you want to come down onto the chest, extending the fingers forward. I like to take a mudra, pointing forefinger, pinky finger, and thumb, and curling in ring and middle finger. And when you hold into this mudra, you feel as though the fingers are extending forward, the toes are extending backwards, and this keeps that tensegrity through the pose. Taking 2 more rounds of breath. And then slowly lifting yourself back up onto the hands. Tuck your back toe, lifting the back knee, and then we're going to step into downward facing dog. And again, it might feel nice to deeply bend the knees in your down dog, or maybe you feel okay stretching out the legs. So for people who've got very tight hamstrings, I do suggest you bend your knees. When your hamstrings are very tight and they're straightened, they pull into the lower back, and we're trying to release the lower back today. So modifying to suit the needs of the practice. Let's take the left leg to the sky, and then stepping the knee forward into Kapattanasana. Slide your back foot a little bit further back. Remember to lift up out of the pelvis here. If you're sinking the pelvis, your lower back might feel a bit of tension. So lift up out of the pelvis and then gently releasing down. Stage by stage, we're in no rush. We're working into releasing, restoring, responding to the intensity of the practice up to this point, and creating balance. So we were very yang orientated for the last 45 minutes. Let's move into a more yin orientated practice. Take 1 more deep breath. Slowly lifting yourself back up. And this time we're going to sit into your hip, bringing both legs out in front of you. So you're going to move now into Paschimottanasana, but coming into a modified variation to create more release into the back. So you're going to start with your knees bent, lightly holding underneath your thighs. Try to ripple your spine. So you lifting your spine and then laying your belly and your ribs against your thighs. And now you're going to straighten into the back, reaching head away from tailbone, tailbone away from head. And then you just very simply start to straighten the legs 1 foot at a time. But you want to maintain this connection of the belly to the thighs. And then if you can go even lower, still staying in that connection, maybe you can come into a full straight leg, keeping the belly to the thighs. So as soon as your ribs lift off your thighs, you know you've reached your maximum point. So the intention of this pose is not necessarily to get the legs straight. It's not about the hamstrings. It is about the back release. Taking one more breath, and then everyone's going to now straighten your legs. Even if your belly comes a little bit off, that's fine. Take the legs as straight as is comfortable for you, and then working into your Paschimottanasana. Feel into that lower back. Not everyone's back is going to enjoy a very deep forward fold. Maybe you need to keep it a bit more gentle. If your back feels like it needs a lovely deep stretch in the opposite direction of all of those back bending poses, then go for it. Let's inhale to come back up to center, and again slowly lowering onto your back. At the bottom of your mat, let's take the knees into the chest again. And then finishing off with a very gentle twist. Bring the feet to the edges of the mat, toes parallel, arms to the side. And we'll work into some slow but dynamic drops side to side in your windscreen wiper. So we never want to finish with an intense twist after an intense back bend class. Rather moving into a more gentle, relaxing, twisting variation. And windscreen wiper is the perfect posture to fit those qualities. Maybe you want to close your eyes here. Maybe the head turns away from the legs. Maybe it stays pointing to the sky. Move slowly, move mindfully. There's no rush. Just connect into the sensation of your body. The next time you drop to the right hand side, you're going to hold it there. You can, of course, deepen this by taking the right foot onto the upper left thigh. That's not necessary today. Very welcome just to hold into this more relaxed version. Let's take it over to the other side, lifting center, dropping to the left. Eyes closed, jaw soft, tongue relaxed. And then returning to the center. You now have the option of finishing in restorative pose with the feet wide, the knees bent, and the arms a little bit wider than they would be in Shavasana. And this is very nice if your back is feeling a little bit tender, or if you feel comfortable to come into your Shavasana with the legs straight and the hands a little bit closer to the hips. You can do that as well. Whatever you choose, just make sure you feel spacious and supported. Let's take a lovely deep breath in through the nose. Hold the breath. And then sigh it out. Slowly start to deepen and lengthen your breath. Feeling your belly rise and fall. Gently running your thumb over the tips of your fingers. Moving your toes, your ankles, your wrists. Sliding your feet together as you extend your arms overhead. Taking a deep, energizing stretch as you yawn or sigh. Bending your knees. Rolling onto your side. Lying into a fetal position for a few moments. And then lifting yourself into a comfortable seated position. Find a space that you can hold for a little while. And you have the option of resting your hands to your knees, bringing the hands together in Anjali Mudra, or placing the palms flat onto your heart center. And we're just going to connect into that Anahata space. Feeling the front, the sides, and the back of the heart space.
chant the mantra Om once and Shanti 3 times together, connecting into the vibration of the chest. Taking a deep breath in. Shanti, Shanti, Shanti. Raising our hands to your third eye. The light in me sees and honors the light in you. Lowering your hands to your lips, to your heart, to your mat. Bowing forward in recognition of your practice. Blinking eyes open, inhaling to lift. Namaste.